Hello?
Hello, Jughead. This is Archie. Come over right away. It's a matter of life or death.
Oh, relax, Archie.
Attention, all true believers. Marvel Comics is on the air.
A friend of the unfortunate, enemy of criminals. In reality, Dan Garrett, a rookie patrolman, loved by everyone but suspected by none of being the Blue Beetle.
Boys and girls, your attention, please. Presenting a new exciting radio program featuring the thrilling adventures of an amazing and incredible personality. Faster than an airplane, more powerful than a locomotive, impervious to bullets.
Up in the sky, look! It's a bird! It's a plane! It's Superman!
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, Master J, we're gonna have some fun today.
Yes, I had some pretty good books.
You got to read a bunch of like ongoing series things, which I love because that just tells me which things you really do like.
And a lot of books that are gonna keep me up tonight.
Oh no, scary things?
Oh yeah.
I don't think I had anything scary. I want to say hi to everyone. I want to give a special shout out to Mr. Nope and Triple B, who are supporters of the channel as monthly subscribers. Thank you so much, guys. I know you guys have been doing this for a long time, and we super appreciate it.
Very proud of you. Very proud of you, Ed.
What, for remembering what time the show starts?
3 weeks in a row.
I feel like you guys can actually set like an alarm or something.
Let's see. We also got Barlord and Preston, first one in the room. Awesome. Great to see everyone. All right.
Make it worthwhile to you guys today, because I also reviewed books that all we have are just like the like ash can for them. So you guys are going to get to see some stuff way ahead of FOC, so you can make some far future decisions.
Miss Jen making my hair fall out with some of those way before FOC books and trying to Photoshop the glare out of them. And, you know,
I don't care about the glare. Leave it in.
Right. But I only have like 3 hairs left. So stressing me out like that, man. I'm down to 2.
I know you guys all know that's the disembodied voice of Kyle. All right, everybody. I've been really excited about this title. I'm a part of a group called Black Comic Lords, which you should follow both on YouTube and just follow their Facebook page, which focuses in on all the cool comic books that are made by Black creators. And they've been talking a lot about this recently. I was super excited. All right, so I'm going to give you all my background in Milestone. I'm only loosely versed in Milestone because it came out in a time when I wasn't totally into books yet. I was kind of late to it. I just missed the launch of all of that stuff. So I am, just like many of you guys, just entering into it now in the new modern Milestone part of the era. So what's so cool about this book is that the whole first page gives you a rundown of all the Milestone heroes and they're like their origins and where they are now in relation to post Waller craziness, right? So it's very helpful. You don't have to really know anything about the characters to join here. Feel free to. This one I feel like focuses in mostly on Icon and
Rocket,
because Icon kind of is not disappeared in this one, but isn't around. And Rocket here is kind of trying to figure their way through this new world of, it kind of feels a little bit more corporate in the way that everything is being handled. There is, I guess, a super bad that was around pre-Waller who created lots of trouble for all of the heroes. And now all of a sudden this issue has just disappeared. They don't mention him, but one of his family members, I guess a sister, shows up as a controlling member of that company and offers Rocket a job, which seems very weird, but also gave me real Yellowstone vibes, because I'm watching season, I think that's 4, when the daughter says, "I'll tell you what, I'll come work for you, evil, land grab people, as long as you give me the section of the land grab that I want." Rawr. 3 Wallers. No, there's no 3 Wallers. Not 3 Wallers, just 1 Waller. Post-Waller world. I called it Wally World because
that's good.
Has a do. But this one's really great, y'all. This feels like a really good setup for very smartly told story. It's way less about, me. I'm not about the battle. So if they're only getting, introducing characters to just have a meaningless battle and people die, and that's the point of the book, I'm not down. This seems like smart storytelling. There will be some battling. And there is some in these pages, but that's not the point of it. The point is about, how do you superhero in a world where it's hard to tell who's good and who's bad?
Yeah. I'm really hoping that the DCU utilizes some of, because I don't know a whole lot about Milestone, but Rocket and Icon are very interesting. I think Hardware is another one. Is Hardware part of the Dakotaverse?
I believe so. The thing that I didn't know before is I did not know that Icon was not a human.
Yeah.
They are an alien, and she's just trying to keep him happy, I guess.
Interesting story. She actually was caught robbing his house. So read up on the characters. Read up on them.
Oh, now I get it.
Hold on. My stuff is a little out of order here. Okay, here we go. I got to change my line now because I read a horror book before this one. But this one's kind of quick. All I can say about this one is the monsters are cool. There's also dinosaurs. And then there's the staircase scene that was really cool, but it took me a second. At first, I thought my PDF was messed up.
Huh.
But going through it, I was like, no, that's just a really interesting way to... What is that? The MC Escher painting with the stairs that go everywhere? They kind of do something like that in this book, and it's really cool how they do it. In all honesty, this wouldn't be one that I would personally read off of this show. Now, does that mean I thought it was boring and I didn't like it or anything like that? No. But this isn't one that I would personally collect. Reading it for review, reading it on the show, totally fine. I'm not going to be like, not this book again. But it's just that it's not really for me. But I didn't dislike reading it, if that makes any sense at all. Like it's a nice read, but not something I would collect. Ed always.
And he says no man should ever admit in public that their PDF is messed up.
Well, jeez. And Preston, I wouldn't do that, man. That sounds like a bad time. This is something that I would tell people, though, that if you're interested, if this cover looks cool, if you're into that, that kind of horror. I know this was a board game or something like that. If you're into it, I would definitely tell you to check it out, because you will appreciate it more than I did. I thought parts of it were cool, but it just wasn't a for me, let me collect it kind of book. But it was still pretty good.
They've gone off the rails. I love it.
Yeah.
You guys don't see this conversation is happening as the chat is happening on the YouTube part of our channel. All right. This title, this awesome new Magma title, Rome Eternal, is pretty trippy. The art is beautiful. It is exactly like what's on the cover there. But I will tell you that I am not 100% certain what is going on. It looks like they've mixed together like actual Rome, like Rome still exists, Roman gods still exist, but there's also like technology that doesn't make sense then, like guns and that kind of stuff that are part of this. What I think is happening is that they've captured somebody maybe out of time and are one of the characters is kind of like mind melding with them somehow, and for the purpose of finding out something that happened back then to obviously make them stronger now. Rome never fell. That's right. So all of those things are still in play. It's really cool. I just need more, I think, for the story to find out what they're using this guy for. Is he still alive? Did they steal him from another time? Or is he just now? Is it just like, yeah, we just captured him last week and now we're, seeing what he knows. Like that Star Trek episode. I don't know. But it's really, look at those cool outfits. Super detailed. Really neat. And they use the F word, which is kind of funny. I don't cuss, so I just giggle whenever someone does because I think I'm like an 8-year-old boy. But yeah, there's a lot of F words. I don't know what I'm looking at for this outfit.
I don't know what I read. What a strange, just gory, violent book. I'm almost positive that the creators of this heard about a feverish nightmare I had once and was like, you know what? That'd make a great story. So the basic premise of this is an FBI agent named Miranda Diaz goes to this town called Barstow. And another agent that had been there investigating human trafficking disappears. And the only clue left in the room is this note that just has her name on it. And the only thing stranger than the disappearance is Agent Diaz doesn't even know this other detective. They've never met. But somehow he knew her name, wrote it down, and then disappeared. Not much of a spoiler because this happens at the beginning of the book, but it starts with this car crash and then an explosion, and this random dude is just blown in half. And we pan away. There was 2 people in this vehicle. One of them gets up and they weren't hurt. They go away. This other guy blown in half. Well, the next thing you know, the top half of the thing sits up, and it's very gory. There's things his intestines hanging out of him, and like just dum-de-dum-de-dum, reaches and grabs his legs, pulls his legs back up to the rest of his body, and just like puts himself back together. That's not even the craziest part of this book.
Oh.
Like the end of this story, I just was like, what the hell is going on? What is she walking in? That was the rest of me. Like it got to a certain point in the book and it was just what the rest of the time. If you're looking for something just strange and off the wall, and you're like, human beings think like this sometimes and can draw things like this, I would definitely check this one out. Yeah, I'm not going to be sleeping too easy with some of these I read, and this is one of them that it's not going to help that situation.
Sounds like a good match for people that liked Aftershocks: A Walk Through Hell.
Yes. That would actually that's a pretty good comparison.
And if you haven't read that series, you should not read it at night. Okay, this is one of my first books that you don't go running to your LCS tomorrow and trying to find this one. This was as a really advanced copy of the Seasons. This is kind of an interesting book. So the Seasons are 4 sisters. They have names like spring and fall and winter. The sisters' names. And the book starts with a story bit, which shows kind of this guy on the cover, this weird kind of like doll clown thing. I don't know what it is that shows up. And it's like everyone that you see, they're trying to figure out, they've lost touch with this city. They said we've had no news coming out of this city. We can't see what's going on. We have no proof of life of anybody, but you can see actually that like everyone is like either frozen or dead. Can't tell. But then it jumps forward in time to a more like normal story, which follows one of the sisters. And toward the end of that part of the story, you see this character again. So it kind of feels like this character is a weird through character, not quite like Ice Cream Man, because I feel like there's more, like there's something important about this character, even though there's no like true interaction yet. But if you like, it looks like to me that it's going to be a scary book, but not like I can't sleep at night scary so far. Because the second story, like when after it gives you that first art, feels kind of more light-ish as you just follow this character around for a little while. So this one is definitely on my radar. Image has been doing such a great job of sending advanced, like full copies of books so that you can see the art and all of that ahead of time. And I will tell you, this is definitely going to be on my list of reading things.
I feel dumb because I'm looking at this cover and I'm like, man, look at the shoulders. And I was like, wait a second, that's part of the shirt. That's the little puffy things on the shirt. It's not the arms.
Yeah, kind of like Harley Quinn-ish.
Yeah. All right.
Ooh, it's the dog.
Yeah. So this is a collection of, different stories of Bloodshot done in different art styles. I believe there's 4 total in this one. And unfortunately, Ed, this is one of those. I don't know if you saw the previous ones we've reviewed. It's what the title says is Black, White, and Bloodshot, and they only use black, white, and red. So, which is really sad because I think you'd enjoy this one. But all the styles match the stories that they're telling. This feels like it's for Bloodshot fans, though. And what I mean by that is, if you know nothing of Bloodshot, this might not be the best thing to that you'd want to start if you were interested in the character. I mean, maybe you could if you went into this thinking it was kind of like an Elseworlds thing. Because while the stories were awesome to me, some of them felt really out of character for Bloodshot. Like it felt like that's not exactly Bloodshot. I don't think that he would do something this way. But again, all awesome for me. As a Valiant fan and as a Bloodshot fan, I would suggest reading older stuff first, then coming back to this if you dig it, because then you'll understand. Or if you just don't care about any of that stuff, if this just looked cool to you, again, definitely grab it. But I would suggest going back, doing that. If you read this and end up liking it, still go back and read older Bloodshot. Trust me, there's no shortage of Bloodshot books. There was a time where it felt like there were more Bloodshot books than there were any other Valiant character for a little bit there. Like I said, as a fan, I really like these interpretations, and I'm really digging these little 3 and 4 story issues. Like I said, the art in some of these is cool. The very first story, even though, like I said, it feels kind of out of character for him, he's against this group, and the group's names are like Wolf, Orca, Croc, and I can't remember what they said the leader's name was, but it was really cool seeing him, how he took care of these folks. Like, and it's a very violent book. So Bloodshot's an awesome character, though. I would definitely recommend him to anybody. But again, if you don't care about, knowing the backstory and you just want to jump into something like this, go right ahead. But it's awesome book. One of my favorites I read this week.
I forgot the dog's name. What's the dog's name?
I thought it was just like
dog.
Something like that.
Yeah.
We'll call him.
All the other dogs in all the other universes have fun names like Pizza Dog. So I just thought that this dog had a name, but anyone out there know what the dog's name is? The dog has been part of the Bloodshot universe for a good long time, so I feel like he's got to call him something. Trivia. Silver Sprocket. I just wanted to put this on your radar. So Silver Sprocket is actually a publishing house that works its way out of an actual store. And these guys are the most fun publishers probably on the planet. This year for Comics Pro, they all showed up in bright pink tracksuits and did kind of like I don't know how to describe how they did their thing. Like, to me, it was like the Germans from Saturday Night Live as an act.
I spent more time putting their playlist together than we did on their whole presentation.
But they love what they're doing. It's all independent creators, most of them local to them, but a ton of their books have won big major awards. So think about finding your LCS's copy of this and just thumbing through it. There's something for everybody in it, really. They make stuff for all different ages, and they're not just boring, regular run-of-the-mill stuff. You're not going to find anything like it out there. So I just love they're part of the universe.
Silver Sprocket also knows how to skank, and if you know what that means, then you're going to like Silver Sprocket books.
Did I hear trivia? I was in the kitchen. Eddie, what is the name of Bloodshot's dog?
I bet it's something super simple too, like Bloodhound or something.
Oh, that sounds right.
It's been a while and I don't remember reading the name. So this one. Well, okay.
Bloodhound. I believe you, Eddie.
So 48 pages. So kind of like a super skim on this one, but I think we all know why I read this. This was the bright, colorful, fun-filled palate cleanser I needed from all the nightmare-inducing violent things that were on my list this week. I read a lot of violent stuff. This is Knuckles doing what he does best, going on adventures, being the toughest one there is, and teaching others to be tough. He's a hero, but in his own special kind of way. If you've seen the movies or the Knuckles TV show, Jenna and I loved it. We loved that show. It was great. He's, the way I would describe him is he's like the Drax of the Sonic universe. He doesn't really get, metaphors and stuff like that. He's very stoic. He's very, I'm a warrior. And he's become one of my favorite characters. I will say this, a lighthearted comic a day keeps the nightmares at bay, or at least to a minimum. So this was a super fun book. So if you're a Sonic fan or a Knuckles fan, this is a definite pickup from me.
All right, Jay. If Knuckles was a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, which one would he be?
Oh, goodness. I think he'd have to be Leo.
Yeah.
Because he has that leadership quality. He's definitely not goofy enough to be Mikey. He's like Batman, where Batman is unintentionally funny sometimes.
That's perfect. There's a correct answer and Jay didn't get it. All right, well, you got to come on and set it straight, Kyle.
He's going to say Wrath.
No, the correct answer is that he is both Bebop and Rocksteady. in that you like him, but you also kind of hate him. Knuckles is the worst of the Hedgehog universe.
No.
Okay, Lucky Devils. From the same creative team that brought you 8 Billion Genies, which now is in development somewhere for something. I can't wait for it. And remember, 8 Billion Genies, when it launched, sold out of like the first like 5 printings or 6 printings of it. It was hot property. And it was hot all the way until the very last issue. So Lucky Devils is an interesting premise. It is mostly following 2 human beings. One is just kind of like trying to find like a mate by, matching himself on whatever social media site and pretty much failing. He is a teacher, but he's not one of the teachers that makes $1 million. There's just none of them. He just does what he's doing because he loves doing it. And he seems like a really great guy, right? You just feel bad for him not having everything work out for him. But it's clear in the book that he gets kind of pissed off more than you would think for certain situations that happen to him. And you're like, well, he's such a great guy. Why is he getting so mad about this? Is there something going on with him? And then the other character it's following is this nurse. And she is also really good and really kind to her patients. And you really get an idea about her. But every once in a while, she just like has these moments where she gets like this big jealous streak. And I did not notice until I got to the end of the book that like in both of those instances, whenever those people got really either mad or jealous, the entire panels turned red or green. It's like, this is brilliant storytelling. But you find out, nope, not a demon using Tinder. You find out that these 2 demons here have been behind those mood swings. And they have a big plan. It has nothing to do with the devil. They basically say the devil wouldn't even know who they were if they stood in front of him. He's got way bigger things to deal with, and they're just little peons. But they want to screw everything up. And the way that they explain it to the humans is kind of like, oh my word, what is going on here? This is the literal deal with a demon. But the demons have got something going on that's, I don't know, only beneficial to them. Tinder's full of demons, yes. But they have really cool names. They're like, I'm not going to be able to remember them. So we'll just call them Scratch and Grunt or something. But they've got funny names. Put it on your list. Oh, that's a great cover.
Okay. This was definitely a huge battle book. It felt like there was just a battle throughout the entire thing. And it's between all the factions. There's a ton going on in this book. We learned some backstory on, and I never remember if it's Slythe or Slithe, but it's the character that's on this cover here. And much like a previous issue we've had, we start to see the Thunderians in a different light, and it's not exactly a good one. There's some things that happened a couple issues ago with Tigra, I believe, where we saw some things that happened in the past with the Council of the Thunderians, the head honchos. Kind of gives you that whole feeling of, that the Jedi are good guys, but are they really? It's kind of how I'm feeling about the Thunderians right now. This was just an awesome issue. Look, if you can hold my attention for 10 issues, and I don't feel it's slow, and there's new info that moves the story along instead of just dredging it down, you're doing it right. Declan Shelby and the team on this are just chugging along, and every issue just feels like I read it and I'm done in a flash. Look, if you haven't yet, there's already a trade out for I think the first 5 they've traded. It's either 5 or 6. Dynamite has a weird thing where sometimes it's 5 issues a trade, sometimes it's 6 issues in a trade. I don't remember, but you really should be reading this. Not even being a Thundercats fan, you should read this because it's just an awesome story. So do yourself a favor. If you haven't been checking this out, give it a shot. Give it a shot because I really want to know, anybody out there that ends up picking any of these up and reading it, come back and let me know what you thought about it because I think it's a fantastic book.
Bug Wars. This is interesting. I thought I had this thing figured out, but maybe I don't. So it starts out feeling very reminiscent of there was a recent old school like 80s comic that came out where there were two factions of humanoid looking creatures that also like road bugs. Is it Beetleborgs?
Was it the Sectars?
Maybe it's Sectars, is it? So it feels a little bit like that. You got two warring factions, the ants, and then people that Sectars that ride beetles. And it's neat because the location of this is the capital Y yard. And I was like going, oh man, this is just like it's somebody's yard, and we're seeing what this, like these things live there. But then like partially through this book, there's like some devastational thing that happens, and then there's like a big twist that is kind of like what I thought was going on, but not 100%. There's another mystery that's going on. So this family has moved back into this house where they once lived with what looks like maybe their dad, who's now deceased, used to work out of the basement there doing some kind of science, and it is now locked up. So this is kind of like two parallel stories, I think, that are actually happening in real time. I don't know if there's going to be more twisting than that, but this is also one of those. It's not. Remember, this is not out tomorrow. This is an advanced preview edition. You can see there. So this is just to put it on your radar if you like. And this is more. It's not horror and it's not just action. I feel like it's going to be kind of cool, a little bit of mystery happening, maybe akin to a little more adult Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, maybe.
Feels a little Lego movie to me because you have the stuff going on with Emmett and the Lego people, and then you have the stuff going on with Will Ferrell and his son in that movie.
Yeah, maybe like that. Is that the Iron Chic?
Not technically the Iron Chic, but the character's name is called the Chic.
Oh, okay.
This book kind of feels outside of the person that's narrating this thing, which is still incredible to me, and I think that's like a driving point of the story. I cannot wait for the issues so I can find out more about that, because the person telling the story is the most interesting part of the story to me. But this feels a little insider baseball on wrestling. Back when kayfabe was a thing, where you stayed in character all the time, all that, and the audience thought it was real. So, in the sense that wrestlers hate each other and they're really trying to hurt each other in the ring, and, this guy is the enemy and he's fighting an American hero. And I mean, it's given the time period of the 30s and 40s this book is set in, it gets violent and pretty. I wish. This Chic is from Jersey, I think he says. But some of the things get taken too far. I will say this. While I've been enjoying this story, this issue felt a bit long. And it really didn't get into what happened in the previous issue with the ending, which I don't want to spoil the ending of the previous issue, but that part was very interesting. I was hoping they were going to look more into it. Like, it's mentioned in this one, but they don't really go too much into it. So personally, I hope the next issue just moves this story along. like I said, our main character is such a, I think I'm the greatest, like it's a human Cartman. He thinks he's the greatest person in the world and does no wrong, and everybody loves him. And when people he talked to like don't recognize him, he goes, ha ha, that's funny. He thinks everybody should know who he is. Now, here's what I'm going to tell you about this book, and I'm going to give it the famous rating that hopefully will be on a shirt someday. This particular issue was hashtag not that bad.
It would be so easy to make this shirt. You should just make it in just plain old black block letters. Throw it on a shirt. And only our group will know what that means. It's Jeff.
That's adorable.
By the way, this is part of the Venom War. It's literally called Venom War. It's Jeff. So if you're looking it up officially, that's what you have to look it up as. Also, this is not the first time that Jeff has born the symbiote. It happened first in Edge of Spider-Verse, something. It actually has a reference to it here. And this is just adorable. It starts out with Jeff. He's trying to figure out what kind of outfit to put on, but it's not clear why he's supposed to be putting on an outfit because Miss Marvel and I forgot the other person that is trying to gather him up. Gwenpool was just the normal one, and some other person. They all are trying to gather together to go off and do something, but weirdly they end up at the state fair. Or what looks like a state fair, in which Venom Jeff is very hungry. So it took me long to find it because it's stupid Venom War. I'm sorry, I almost went back and told you that. I'm sorry. It's adorable. It is 100% adorable. Usually when you read a Jeff comic, there is no words, but because there's humans or superheroes in this one, all their parts are spoken, and he does just his is all like rah chop. There's still no words for him. He's making noises. Venom War in this show is making me into those grumpy old men who hate crossover events. You should not hate this part of it. This is pure joy. You can get this and enjoy it with your kids. That is a win in my book for all of comic books. If you can find something that they will like. Venom is one of those things that you can't really share with your really young kids because most of them are like, mature reader marked or PG-13 plus whatever things. This one is, sure, he eats things, but it's all, cotton candy.
As opposed to the grumpy young man Kyle already is.
That's right.
You don't have to call your book Venom War, It's Jeff. Just call it It's Jeff.
Well, but there's already a book called It's Jeff.
Right, but then they also have books called Venom War, Other Things that make it ridiculously hard to find. Look, just end the Venom War, okay? Peace amongst the symbiotes.
Everything like hinges on what happens in that war.
Oh, jealous.
I got to read the Rockefellers. This is so much fun. Someone mentioned a movie the other day that made me think that this is like that. You remember Meet the Robinsons?
Yes, I love that movie.
Space age family that had everyone loved each other and worked together and everything was wonderful and marshmallows. This is what this feels like, except for with a little crossover with Lost in Space, where there's real oh no, there's everything going wrong. There's some kind of big bad chasing them at the beginning of this book. And they there's someone who pays the ultimate price to help them escape, but they escape through time. So they're from 400 years in the future and find themselves today is what it says. Today is when they end up back. And so it's people at a time. Really, this is if you're having just a crap day and you're too much stress, the world is ridiculous. I don't want to hear any more about politics or, how to fix my car engine or any of those things. Just Rockefellers. It's part of the larger Ghost Machine universe. It fits into that big storyline that includes Geiger and all of those things. This is the first issue though that doesn't have. Usually have this big page in there that like tells you where in the timeline for those books it lives. Okay, so this one you'll have to go back and find like your last issue of Geiger maybe to see where Rockefeller fits. Hornsby and Halo is the next book to show up. Do communicate with your local comic shop because I did hear from other comic book shops that they were surprised that Rockefellers was part of the universe. So maybe they themselves hadn't been reading all the way all of the books to know that they were all tied in. So keep in touch with them so that and make sure they know that if you want to have everything that's tied to the Ghost Machine larger universe, so they don't miss out on those things. So because there are some titles that are coming up that weren't part of that. Remember they had that one shot book that had everything. It was just called Ghost Machine. Mm-hmm. We're getting to the point where we're going to be heading into the titles that weren't addressed in that. So we don't know any of those characters yet. So I love the universe. I love that they've thought it all through. I love that all the titles are so different. There's not all scary. There's not always like the world is ending. There's just, some of them are just for fun.
Yeah. From the stuff that I've read, this is definitely a universe to jump into.
Oh. Hey, funny.
Speaking of universes to jump into, the coup continues. The battle rages on to see who's going to control this kingdom. I don't have a whole lot to say about this one. This is a great sci-fi story, and the only nostalgia that I have about it is like how I talked about in the first issue is I had the toys. Outside of that, that's all I had. The story itself is actually really, really good. I don't have the rose-colored glasses, when it comes to certain things like that from my childhood, but this is a really cool book. Like if you're into fantasy, give this a shot because it's humanoid bugs with a mix. It's a mix of Game of Thrones. And I know that that's becoming tired, but that's the best way I can describe like the backstabbings and stuff that happens. Plus there's a Jaime Lannister moment in here.
Is he paying his debts?
There's something that happens to Jaime Lannister when he gets kidnapped. Happens to the prince in this book.
Oh, right.
And for me, it feels like an easier to read Dune. Like I like the Dune books, but sometimes they're a little confusing because they jump around so much. But this has that futuristic yet past feel to it. And if any of that sounds interesting, like if you're into the sci-fi stuff like that, this actually might be right up your alley because no, that's not what I meant. I knew I probably should have worded that better when I talked about Jaime Lannister.
No, there's a whole book though that's like that.
Yeah, true. There's a reason he had to be taught to use his other hand for his sword. But this one really works for me. Like I said, this is not a nostalgia thing because I only had the toys. The story is actually very interesting to me, and I'm kind of excited to see where they take it. This is an 80s toy that they turned. I know, I guess they've had comics about this before, but I didn't know about any of those. So I jumped in when we started this, 2 issues in, and I'm in.
Yeah, I was surprised also. I really did read issue number 1, and with the idea that I was just going to be like, no, ugh. But this one actually is interesting. Yes. They've gone into all craziness over here. Hey, Renee Montoya has ended up on the wrong side of everything, been personally attacked, drummed out of town, I guess, and finds themselves gathered up for a specific purpose, including Superman comes and offers them a job in the Watchtower, which is that big space station that the Justice League has gathered in, that you saw in the beginning of All In, and has continued to be important. They have been hired because everybody on the station feels like there is something trying to get in. There's little glitches that happen, or feelings, or they just can't explain what's going on. That means that they have needed to form a kind of a task force to figure out what is going on, because they're terrified. Because if they formed this giant Justice League where everyone can be part of the team, just so the Waller situation never happens again. They say that often in this, all the DC All In stuff. That's the point. They're like, we can never allow that to happen ever again. And so I really like this. There is a lot of sure, potential battles, but also this is more character development, and I really like them with no face. That costume looks really cool.
Yeah.
So you don't have to really know anything about the traditional question, because they don't ever touch back on any back history. So jump in.
The question, though, is an awesome character. The Watchtower, we got a lot in the Justice League cartoons, but I've been pushing so hard for them to do a Question Deadman Spectre Etrigan detective agency. I would watch that. Watch it, read it.
It's weird who's on the team. I'll let you just discover it, because that's part of the fun of the rollout of the book. But yeah,
nice,
interesting team.
All right, y'all.
Oh man, I was going to take a drink. I thought it was a Cullen book.
Oh no, I like Cullen Bunn, but I began my notes with Kyle Starks has become one of my favorite writers.
Oh, nice.
Outside of Peacemaker Tries Hard, which if you're a fan of the Peacemaker show, check out Peacemaker Tries Hard. That's the character is based like that. But if there was anyone out there that was a fan of the last series and had any kind of will this be as good feeling, let me put your mind at ease. The dark humor, the violence, and the awesome story, they're all there, along with a new batch of killers. The Love Master, which I'll call him that for purposes of not getting banned and keeping it family friendly as much as I can with a book like this. He's in rare form. I went back because Kyle read issue 1 of this. I went back and I read issue 1. Then I read this just because I love this universe. This story is only 2 issues in, and it's already wild. It is already wild. If you didn't jump on the first series, read that right now. If you're a fan of Kyle Starks or not, read it right now. It was my favorite horror comic of 2023, and this one is no doubt going to be my favorite of 2024. Needless to say, folks, this was my pick of the week. It's kind of Cabin in the Woods. Let me get the right movie. And Tucker and Dale versus Evil kind of combined, plus Community, plus just so many great things. So many great things. This is a book that every horror or horror comedy fan should be reading. This book is excellent. This is my favorite book this week.
Okay. I will say I've had more just normal people walk into our door last week. For some reason, they thought it released last week, or maybe it's because it was on. I put the poster up, not in a prominent place of the store, but just to advertise it, and people were all coming in for it. So someone out there, maybe a social media person or an influencer or something, has been talking about this book. So That is to say, if you don't already have it in your pull box and you're just like, I'll just pick it up when I go to my LCS, you might find yourself into some competition because Naruto fans are real fans. They will fight you for things. And they are really super hyped about this book. So I will say that this book is all about the Naruto team, which please forgive me if I say anything about Naruto that's stupid because I've never read a book. I just know I like their little headbands, and I know that they are good at fighting. And I really like the dude that has like he covers one eye, and he has a red glowy eye. That whatever that guy's name is, he's dope. All right. So this one has the April that you saw in the Mutant Mayhem movies, that version. She is being guarded by the Naruto team. Can't remember where they're supposed to be going. And they happen to come across the turtles. And they misunderstand that the turtles are against them. And April does not mention anything. I think she's just like, look, I got my camera and this is for good. Reviewing. So she just thinks that's the coolest thing. I will just say it is awesome. This is like the exception to, I don't want to read a book about fighting. Turtles are an exception. The costumes that the turtles have in this are really cool. I've never seen anything like this. They look really, really, really neat. So there you go. This is like, I shouldn't have to sell this book at all to you. Do you like turtles? Do you like Naruto? Wouldn't it be cool if they got together and fought a lot? Because this is a book. Is that really it?
That's it.
That crazy. I thought I was going to break everything by having that many like advanced review books.
Pretty good week. Pretty good week. Some very varying degrees of books here. I lost my train of thought. I had something going, and my train just went.
Think about it for a second. I was going to mention that you might not know this, but for G.I. Joe, there was a special cover that was delayed in its release that's going to be out this week. It's a really cool like foil cover that you might grab onto. And I believe this wasn't out before, but Absolute Batman #1 has a really cool black blank that releases this week also, which is going to be perfect for remarking. It just is going to be the best. So those are the other things you might not be thinking about this week that are dropping.
Go ahead, Kyle. I saw you pop in here.
Go, Kyle.
If you saw a book on tonight's show and you decide to pick it up, drop a comment in the comments on this video after the fact and let us know what you picked up. At the same time, if you're looking for a place to buy those books, comicshoplocator.com. Does that help you get your train of thought back on the rails, Jay?
That was basically it. You know, go to comicshoplocator.com, put in the zip code of the place that you were visiting, find local comic shops near you. Make sure, though, please call the stores. Don't trust Google on this one, folks. Sometimes Google doesn't get updated. You might show up to a store and be angry because they closed at a different time than the Google says. Always call your LCS. And if you do, or call your LCS, go call the comic shops is what I mean. Because the second part was go to your LCS if you have one near you. You know, spend an extra $5. You never know, you know, how much that means to them. Help them out. Enter the numbers. Yeah.
We need a shirt that says that. Enter period. Period. Numbers. Period.
Yeah. But always support your local comic shop if you can, or if you don't, use the experience as your LCS. Miss Jen, you are on CBSN next?
Next.
CBSN.
But, you've got a really dope show that comes on here. So you can two-screen it.
Yep. Because next we're going to have James with Mint Hunter Comics. Huh? Then at 10 Eastern, 9 Central, Kicking It with Henri. If you've never watched that show, it is bonkers, but it's amazing. So.
And then, don't tell anybody, but Henri and I have got a secret show on Thursday.
Oh.
We're going to do it. We call it Kicking It with Henri. We kick back and forth. Who knows where that is? I think it's his channel. Chaos. Thanks everybody for being here. Thank you for liking and sharing. We can tell that you guys have been telling your friends about us. We appreciate it. Thanks for the peek of the creepy books that he says.
Always welcome.
For verifying that it's Bloodhound. I appreciate that. Jake gets extra points for knowing that.
Right before he answered too. I knew that was going to happen. Right before I was like, you know what? I bet it's something simple like Bloodhound.
Oh yeah.
But anyway, folks, make sure you check out Miss Jen over there on the CBSN. You come hang out with Mint Hunter and myself next. Thank you all for being here. We will see you all next time.
Join the party. Head over to our link tree to find all the links for everywhere the experience is all the time.